Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
I'm Todd Pleasant.
I'm Derryl DePriest.
And I'm Brian Mix.
Surprise to all of us, it's a full house.
Yeah, surprise to everyone.
I didn't know that these guys were going to be on tonight. This is great.
Right, I didn't know.
So just had to mix things up a little bit, and
why are we mixing it up and not depriesting it up? I mean, you're using Brian's last name. It's not fair to Barry.
Okay,
nice.
That's a perfect use of Brian's last name.
Actually, Brian gets a quarter every time I do that, so it's
right.
It's a royalty thing. So.
Yeah, today a surprise show to all of us because Todd came up with something. I don't know. We have no idea what it is. So
he's like, "Do you guys want to know?" And we're like, "No, surprise us."
Yeah, good to have a see surprise. Then I don't have to think about it until we actually start doing it. So you follow along on this journey, and we'll get there together.
I think Todd came up with a surprise topic because he didn't want us to talk about the other thing that we won't talk about.
We're not. Just shut it right down now. So we're not. As I said earlier, we're not mentioning the B word. We'll explain why next week.
You could have only just seen the visual.
Yeah, I know. That was funny.
Anyway, so more on that next week.
Yes.
So let's go some random. Barry, what do you got?
I guess it was last week. Disney had a bunch of social media influencers and press and YouTubers and TikTokers at the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Oh boy. And
lots of footage and pictures and information has been coming out. And even though all of those people were told to say only nice things, they're not saying only nice things. So it's interesting. I've actually watched way more than I probably should have, videos and YouTube and whatever. It's, not that I was expecting to go and be, an early, visitor to the Star Cruiser, but
yeah, a family of five, unless you would rather buy a new car. Yeah, for the price of 2 nights.
Unless you're willing to wash dishes and make beds on the Star Cruiser.
I would do it for washing dishes and making beds.
Yeah. And I would actually, even with all of the positives and negatives that have come out, I'm still super curious about it, but not right now. And the one thing I will say, my biggest takeaway from all the things that I've watched and read, for it to be a fully immersive experience, and I'm putting air quotes around the words fully immersive, you need to be staring at your phone screen for half the time you're there, because so much of it is an interactive app. Yeah. So I don't know how you can consider that immersive when you're having to look down instead of being immersed in the experience.
So and it sounds like you have to stay in the hotel the whole 2 days. Yeah. It's not like I'm sleeping there, but I'm going to go to the parks. Like, no.
Well, you do get a trip to Batu.
Oh yeah.
Here's the interesting part. So they put you in a ship, quote unquote, air quotes again, ship. You're actually in the back of like a truck, but it's in a enclosed box that makes you feel like you're in a ship, and like they drive you to Galaxy's Edge, and there's like, so. And the people that go, they get like a special pin that they wear that gets them to skip the lines on the 2 rides there or whatever. But you spend the most of the time in the immersive experience, and being somebody who, and I'm sure I've mentioned this on the show at some point over the 8 years, but somebody who's got a gluten allergy, I don't think there's anything I could eat there. All the food is space themed food, and it's like regular food, but none of it looks like regular food.
A ton of gluten in that space food. I do know
sure
that
it's all
for
gluten.
A fact.
So
I'm picturing like a Jurassic Park type meltdown thing where the people get in this thing, the animatronic aliens are going to come alive and stuff, and it's just going to be like, it's just going to be like the original
Westworld.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I'll say, and then we'll move on. When they first announced Galaxy's Edge, they said it was going to be all of these things that it turned out not to be, and all of those things that it turned out not to be are now at the $6,000 hotel. Yeah. So I guess at some point they thought, hey, why don't we make this an upcharge? I think it's $6,000 for a family.
It's for a family. I looked at it today because I was like, I wonder if there's any availabilities when we go. But it's sold out through June. You can get it. I mean, that's not that far off. But family of 3, it's like just about $900 per person per night. So $2,700 times 2, it's close to with taxes, it's $6,000. That's about right.
Right. And you know, if we went, there's exclusive merchandise you can only buy at the Galactic Star Cruiser, so add another $500 at least onto that.
What's another 500 when you spend 6?
I know.
Although it gets cheaper the more people you have if you amortize it over humans. So it may pay.
You can get 5 people in a room if you're all comfortable sleeping all in like 2 in one bed. There's a fold down bed, and then there's 2 bunk beds, so you can get 5 people in a room.
Can anyone think of 5 people who might do
that's Rhode Island Comic Con.
Yeah.
So do it right here. It may only cost us like $600 a night.
Chancellor Palpatine once said, "I'll be watching this one with great interest."
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Brian, what do you got?
They revealed the costumes for Strange New World.
That was one of mine.
And they are very reminiscent of the original series, including the
I'm thinking I was like, what are you talking about? I thought you meant Stranger Things. I'm like, they're kids wearing the 80s clothes.
Yeah.
No, they.
The collars are even. You mean that the jackets aren't offset
asymmetrical? No, they're not asymmetrical.
And the ladies are in mini skirts. I'm guessing they probably have a pants.
Brian, that was my
as well.
point. Is the future is safe? Okay, all the revisionist shit they've been doing in Star Trek. At least they kept women in mini skirts. We know that things are going to work out.
They did nice black insets on the side to make the.
Yep.
Interesting. I thought make
it look thinner.
I thought I had seen some pictures. That's cool.
They look great. Look for costumes from your favorite Chinese manufacturer shortly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, our guy will hook us up. So,
Todd, what you got?
So, shockingly, Moon Knight. There's another poster release this week for Moon Knight. His most recent alter ego, Mr. Knight, apparently is going to appear. This is really, really cool.
That's not Moon Knight?
That is Moon Knight. That is one of her personas. It is Mr. Knight.
I didn't know there was different personas.
I hope that they give us like a primer at the beginning of this show so that we understand.
I think that it's again, the guy's got dissociative personality disorder. This character is basically the detective. Whereas the other, the guy that we see with the cape is kind of the superhero. When he's in this mode, he's got a completely different personality, and it's going to be awesome. I'm so psyched for this. Please don't crush my hopes. I really did not expect to see this out of a first season. This is one of the kind of more cool, nuanced things they've done with this character.
Is that April or May? When do we get that?
End of March.
March
31st.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Sweet. All right, so it's a month away. Great.
But yeah, no, and again, really surprised by how much they've said up front. I mean, this is something that I would have been really excited to see in the series, but to know it's going. Any of you ever try to do that? The Eldridge knot? I don't know if you hit the tie knots at all. That is freaking
have to
insane.
Have a very thin tie.
No, you do it with the tail. You tie that knot with the tail. Look it up sometimes. The Eldridge knot. It's 15 steps. I've actually done it successfully before. The cool thing with it is you start with the tie where it ends. The front of the tie where you set so it's always the right length. But then you do all the other thing. You check it out. It's kind of cool. I have no idea why he has that, but it is literally a tie that takes about 3 minutes to tie. That's what I got.
Darryl, weren't you going to mention that Indy 5 has wrapped?
Thanks. I was, and it's true. It's wrapped.
There you go. Frank Marshall put that out.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm surprised.
No, I didn't have a random, so go ahead with all of yours, Dave.
I'm surprised they got through it.
With Harrison Ford alive, you mean?
No, I don't think he is. I think he's in pieces, but
I think he's an animatronic at this point.
Yeah.
He didn't crash a plane landing to get to the filming.
He did not.
This is good.
Wait, was he flying a plane anywhere near Greenfield, Massachusetts today?
Yeah, my God. We had a plane land
that
on
would
the
have been
highway
awesome if it was him
in town today. A twin engine or a 2-passenger plane. So,
is it our friend coming to see you?
Nope. Don't recognize this one at all. But it's just like I said, just one more weird thing happening.
All right, I got a bunch of randoms. Okay, all the Netflix series are coming to Disney Plus. All the Marvel Netflix series are coming to Disney Plus. We've all seen them, at least the ones that
I've watched the ones I care about.
Watching. Chris Hemsworth is going to be the villain in Furiosa. That's the sequel to Mad Max, or Fury Road.
Fury Road.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone have anything else? I'm just going through this list.
I've got one other, but you go down your list and then I'll go last.
Let me go back to the Netflix series again. I may have asked this previously on a show. Are the Netflix series considered in canon, like in the universe, or if not, do you think are they going to fence them off somehow on Disney Plus so people understand that those aren't part of the cinematic universe?
It is an open question. They made references to events in the MCU. Okay, if in Daredevil, in the first season of Daredevil, all the newspaper headlines in the newspaper office relate to MCU events. Okay, so there's been ties like that, but now we know there's like offshoot universes
Murdock
and things like this.
Up.
And we've seen Matt Murdock
and Kingpin.
And Kingpin. So
Kingpin. Yeah.
It may or may not. They may or may not ever acknowledge that it's exactly the same universe, and we saw the same versions. But
I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. referenced the Battle of New York and other things too.
Oh yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming also to Disney Plus.
Is it really?
But I think the entire thing is. I think they're going to keep it vague, just so they never have to acknowledge Iron Fist.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's going to be more like a expanded universe type section of Disney Plus where they've got offshoots, but maybe.
I think it'll be like different. They'll have different things. Like Daredevil will be in the main thing. Luke Cage will be someplace if you need to take a nap. Iron Fist if you're just stupid.
Yeah, I think with the Spider-Man movie and with Doctor Strange movie, basically they can have an infinite number of universes. So all of these things could be in canon in their own universe.
Yeah,
or not, depending on what they choose.
Or not.
Yeah, they'll switch the universes as they feel.
I think
doing it.
I think Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. I'm perfectly happy with them being in universe. Punisher, indifferent. Iron Fist, they should deny by every means possible. So,
but his girlfriend, I'd like her in the universe. She's cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else I got? So supposedly they're making a TV series on somebody based on Metropolis. That one's for you, Brian.
I just saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel.
Oh, you mean Metropolis the movie, not Metropolis the city?
The movie, yes, correct.
Right.
The movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like a sequel to Smallville.
That's what I was talking about.
Is it based on the female robot?
Yep.
Yeah.
Will there be speaking, or will it be
I think it's going to probably have be a talkie.
Yeah.
And in color.
And in color. Barry, what you got something else?
So yeah, my last thing actually, it's funny because it ties to the concept of things being in canon, and it also ties back to Todd's comments about Star Trek. But there's a Star Trek fan named Anna G, and she has created a petition on change.org to try to designate Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek as non-canon. And I just looked, and there's 783 people that have signed a petition so far.
Wait, Alex. I'm thinking they were talking about the JJ verse. Yeah.
No. They're talking about Discovery and Picard.
Well, is he also involved in Strange New Worlds, though?
She specifically calls out not Lower Decks because she's like, that's meant to be, a spoof or whatever. So, she's got a problem with Picard and Discovery being in Star Trek canon.
Like, who cares? What is canon?
I don't necessarily disagree, but I wouldn't necessarily put a petition out about it. So,
hasn't Anna G heard of the concept? Hasn't Anna G heard of the concept of multiverses by now? That Brian
apparently not. Somebody should send her into the Spider-Verse and as a way of onboarding her into that concept.
It's a crazy new stuff. Day. It's a new day in fandom. We can accept everything all as belonging together.
That's right.
It's so
wonderful.
I thought
it was interesting though, and maybe this is an accepted term, but she refers to them as new Trek, NU Trek. Is that the way they refer to that?
People have been doing that since Discovery started.
Yeah, I had no idea that's what it was called, but
yeah, and it's.
I just call it not exciting.
You know who is exciting? Fanboy Collectibles. Complete opposite of Discovery.
Oh,
that poker one. I watched the first one. I'm like, we're gonna watch someone play poker. Not interesting.
I'm up to date and underwhelmed.
I've only, Anyway, lots of stuff coming out.
See the new Ecto-1 they have up on pre-order?
They have an Ecto-1 Blitzway. Now Blitzway made awesome. Someone has them, Brian.
I have one of them.
You have Venkman or
I have Venkman. Yeah.
Yeah, those were really well done, and now they're coming out with an Ecto-1, which I'm sure is going to be like the right scale. So that's
they came out with an Ecto-1 already. This is the one from Afterlife.
Oh, this is the Afterlife Ecto-1.
I mean, you look at the detail on this thing. The rusting is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
like, incredible.
The weathering.
It does look awesome. So check that out. That is up for pre-order. Man with No Name, Clint Eastwood. You haven't seen a lot of Clint Eastwood stuff, but that's a cool 1/6 scale figure if you want to have Clint Eastwood, for sure. Hot Toys Peacemaker. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. I'm still on episode 3. I haven't gotten any further, but I am liking it. I know we're in a commercial. I won't keep going.
Peacemaker comes with Eagly, which is the most awesome accessory ever.
It is. And I will say the other thing about this I love is that you don't get 2 facial expressions. You get an add-on tongue.
Perfect.
It's like
Ahsoka Darth Maul diorama, which is awesome. That looks great if you're into those guys. And for Barry, I don't know if you ordered it or didn't get it, Mando Short Trooper in stock. Did you not get it?
I didn't order it because I had the first version.
You had the first Short Trooper.
But for anybody who missed the first one, which goes for a ton of money on the aftermarket, you can get them now.
It's in stock, so it won't last, so get it. So check those guys out. They got Coda, Bukias, and all kinds of crap. Anything you need. And a lot of new stuff is coming in, so I don't...
and they have the Eddie Van Halen Funko Pop, which everybody needs.
Yeah, you did that on the show, didn't you?
I have one, yeah. I didn't realize Troy was going to have them, otherwise I would have got it from him.
Awesome. So check those guys out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe sent you. Okay, Todd.
All right, Todd.
Okay, this has been a really interesting week, and then some. It's been a rough time for a whole lot of people around the world. Also, in a completely different way for members of my family. My nephew Tyler and his wife Becca just had their second child, Ronan. He was more than a month early, and he had a little bit of a rough time of things, but he came out ready to fight like a Ukrainian. So he's doing well. Anyways, I was thinking I would like this week to do something a little upbeat and just kind of talk about stuff we like. Something kind of, this kind of struck me the day before yesterday. I was watching Morning Joe, and the transition music they played between, going to the commercial segment was this. And see if any of you recognize this.
Sounds like the Olympic theme song.
No? Anybody?
Did Ave Maria?
Why is that in your head, Barry? Don't answer.
It's familiar, but I can't place it.
It's familiar, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
It is the theme from Band of Brothers.
I
cannot hear this and separate it from Band of Brothers. Okay. I love that series. I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
One of the best things ever made for television.
Yep. And so that piece of music is just permanently attached to that. Now, we've kind of talked about themes before here and there in different ways, but I was wondering what you guys have for things that you just have like music that you associate with certain things, movies, TV shows, whatever, and just cannot see it anywhere else. Could be favorite things, could be you get what I'm saying? And I know we have, in our personal list, we've got tons of John Williams stuff, tons of Jerry Goldsmith stuff. There's again, the way we interact with music psychologically is we hear something and it just kind of takes us right to that. And so if there's any, do you guys have any things like that you think of?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump ahead of Barry. I always think of the Fox opening is Star Wars.
Yep.
Because you're a music guy, you have more than me, so I know.
But anytime I see it, and I saw it, something I watched over the weekend. I watched Free Guy, Brian's.
That's
favorite movie of
exactly
last
what
year.
I was just thinking.
And it starts with that, and I can't hear that, and not in my head immediately go to the Star Wars theme.
I don't even think of another thing. I'm always shocked when I hear it on something else, and I just
does it have to have the Cinerama tag on it, or any Fox? Because there's two versions, right? There's a short version
Well, there's a short version, but then the long version with the da 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 da.
Yeah, that used to be where in
one.
CinemaScope used to go on the and Lucas put his own thing in there, but that's I can't remember which one Free Guy has, but yeah, that of course
has the long version.
Yeah, okay, that same for me. That immediately transports me to Star Wars.
Yep.
I can't. I mean, anytime I hear anything that is like very rhythmic and drum heavy, it immediately takes me to Planet of the Apes.
Again, Jerry Goldsmith. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. There's certain things like that just, like I said, they just kind of connect and click in that way. The James Bond theme is one of those things. If you come even close to that, it's evocative of that. People have tried that, and you can't really carry that off. One of the things I was thinking about is like, are there films that we love that just we don't have that music connection at all, where you just can't really think of the theme, or is it just that we have, we just happen to have a lot of things that we really like and care about that, like I said, either John Williams or Jerry Goldsmith or somebody like that was attached to. Can you think of an example of a film that's not memorable or doesn't have a
memorable film that doesn't have a good soundtrack?
Yeah, you make me want to go check the top 100 that we did, like 100 films. Because
one of the things though is that I mean, especially for movies that I've seen many, many times, the music just becomes embedded in your brain. Like like a movie like Terminator 2, that music, that heavy, drum and bass intro and the da 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 like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
They only do it at the beginning of the movie, and at the end of the movie, it's not really like a theme that they carry out throughout the whole thing, but. Like if you see a movie enough times and you really love it, like, and it's got a good soundtrack, then it just becomes embedded.
Escape from New York is like that. The music in Escape.
Oh my God, I love the Escape from New York. Right. I'll tell you, if we're talking about like, favorite movies, and you list Vangelis in Blade Runner, and all those things. Logan's Run. I cannot for the life of me think of that music. Okay.
Dave, that was my example. That was the one I was going to come up with because I just can't picture the music from that.
Okay, what's so funny about that is that the complete brain short circuit for me is the trailer for Logan's Run. The music they used is music from Ice Station Zebra, my other favorite movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really bizarre to watch the trailer for Logan's Run.
That's interesting.
And hear the music from because they're both MGM movies, so they just lifted the Ice Station Zebra music out for the trailer because the Goldsmith score wasn't done yet.
Yeah, that's the one. That was actually the one that I was going through the list. I could summon up everything. Things. I just couldn't get anything.
I of course I used to listen to that Logan's Run album over and over and over and over again when I was a kid. So I can't identify with you there.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that, Dave. I'm trying to in my head trying to run it down, and I'm hearing all of the electronic sounds.
Yeah, there was only a few real musical themes in it because he was starting to do the experimental music like Planet of the Apes, with the ping pong balls on the piano strings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely stuff like in the very 80s stuff. I guess it was 80s, like Risky Business and not just because it's Tom Cruise, and Thief, one of my favorite movies. Oh, I didn't put that on my list. I forgot.
Tangerine Dream, right?
It was awesome for that like really short period of time. The Tangerine Dream stuff in Thief with James Caan is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and all of the Hollywood Police Department one where.
Oh yes, that's not Tangerine Dream, but Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 have incredible opening sequences.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you hear it, all you think about is that amazing truck chase and
Harold Falkmeyer.
Something like that. Yeah.
Falkmeyer, something like
Fulton, that. I'll look it up.
Yeah. It's the other thing too is like now we these are films we've seen a bunch of times, but like I honestly don't know if I have ever seen Apocalypse Now more than once. I do remember seeing it, but I don't remember ever rewatching that film. But that movie owns a piece of music that was around.
Valkyries forever.
That's what I'm saying. It owns a piece of music that was around 75 years before the movie was made.
Yep.
Well, and so in it also from that, like the song "The End" by The Doors. Yeah. Like I can't hear that song and not think of that sequence from Apocalypse Now.
Yep. And that's where it's not just our association with the film; it is how the film associated with that piece of music.
One of my all-time favorite bands, as you guys know, Van Halen, and I can't hear the song "Everybody Wants Some" without thinking of the claymation sequence from Better Off Dead with the hamburger jumping into the fryer.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. I think of Van Halen. I think of Back to the Future, right?
Yes.
Even though that was just Edward Van Halen, not the band.
Yes.
But
Yep.
That comes to mind.
That wasn't he was being Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan.
Right.
Yeah.
Going to melt your brain.
Melt my brain.
Another thing I was thinking about was TV series or movies that have used existing songs and how that's, because I'll tell you, this is way out there, and you guys might not click for you, but okay, My Life by Billy Joel.
Oh yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah, Bosom Buddies.
Bosom Buddies.
Bosom
Yeah,
Buddies.
I'm saying, how long ago was that? It wasn't even on that long, but that's.
Can you imagine if they try to remake that now?
Oh my God!
If they did a Prince of Bel-Air reboot on that show,
yeah. But I'm saying it's a other than what the people went on to do other things. It's fairly obscure. That is what I think of when I hear that song. And
how about the fact that as iconic as the 70s Star Trek theme was, it's the Star Trek the Motion Picture theme that has been used more than anything.
Yes. Yep.
And that is really I would say the more iconic Star Trek theme at this point, because it's used in everything.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it really was. And even they reworked it for Next Generation. They had somebody else reworked it for that. And then he came back and did some of the ones for the other series. I think the only Star Trek theme that didn't work was Enterprise.
It's funny because there are songs that I hear. The Calling, is that the band or the song that I totally think of Enterprise?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the song. It's funny this is a million years ago when I went to a UPN preview of Enterprise. It was before the show. They actually used a Creed song. This was the 90s, so it was okay before Creed got really ridiculous. But I'm like, wow, that song is awesome, and it's perfect for like this modern Star Trek. So I hear Creed, and every song sounds the same, and I think of Enterprise.
They were definitely going for something different by actually having lyrics to a Star Trek theme song, and it was different.
It just doesn't hold up because of that, though.
I still think of Voyager every time I hear it. Is it The Calling or something? I defer to someone who knows more about music than me.
There's a lot of songs from that era that sound like that, though.
Yes. Well, the thing is, I don't think there's.
Might as well have been Nickelback doing that song.
Oh, Jesus,
yes. Yeah. Could be. Oh yeah. No. It just feels like it's just very much of that.
Anytime I hear a '90s song a little bit slow, I think of movies from the 2020s because, as Barry pointed out, every single movie is doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Every movie has a grunge song in slow motion.
Yeah, and they'll drop out all the instrumentation except the piano or something, and take it down to half speed. And the movie that we'll talk about next week's no exception.
Exactly.
I was for Barry the movie I Want to Hold Your Hand. A lot of Beatles songs throw me back to that movie. Rather than you would think the other way around, but yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you would. Yeah, but I could see that. I mean, especially you probably saw that at a certain point in time, right? Maybe you weren't even as familiar with the Beatles at that point.
That's right. Yeah. So when did it come out? I Want to Hold Your Hand. Where is it? I was just looking at it. 78.
Something that said Scott Bakula sung the theme song to Enterprise. Is that
No.
possibly true?
Maybe he
did a cover of
sing it at some point.
He did a cover of it.
It wasn't him.
Okay, I hope.
Yeah,
so.
I can't
I hope
imagine
not.
that.
It's just
every once in a while I will hear the theme from existing song at the time, but the theme from Smallville. You can't go anywhere but that. Likewise, Short Skirt and Long Jacket by Cake.
Yeah.
From Chuck.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that's just owned by Chuck now. There's again pre-existing song they used, but it's like that's just where it is.
Now, what's a totally different situation, but there was a show called Two Broke Girls. I don't know if any of you ever even saw it.
Yeah.
But they used a song that was like one of these stock music theme songs that they didn't own. So that song has shown up in a bunch of other places.
Oh, really?
Prior and since, because it was just stock music that they used. They didn't actually commission an original theme.
that's a little weird. I wonder why they wouldn't, especially after it was fairly popular, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they expected that show to go anywhere.
I think it went 5 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, it did. It was the filthiest show on network television.
I used to love that show. Yeah,
it really was. I did say like, oh, you'd love it, Dave. You would love that show. Go find it.
Who is in that?
Kat Dennings, right?
Okay, Kat Dennings. That's what. And I don't know the other actress.
Some blonde girl who's on. She's on another neighborhood.
She's on. I know what it is. Yeah, I've never seen
Neighborhood. Something.
There's a bunch of people on it that you go, oh, it's that person, but I don't know their name. But Kat Dennings was like the lead.
They're waitresses or something, right?
Yeah, they're both waitresses in a diner. I mean, you know, there has been so many things that sound like the Indiana Jones theme too. Like, you know, that is so iconic, but then so many things have tried to do derivative things that sound similar.
Well, there's a Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. The Through the Asteroid Field song throws you right back to Lost in Space. It lifted. He lifted himself. John Williams lifting John Williams from Lost in Space.
Oh, interesting.
It is. If you listen to the opening theme for the 3rd season of Lost in Space and then the asteroid field, it's the same piece of music.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. The there is a little bit of original Lost in Space theme in the new Netflix show too, which I like when they do that. Just like in the Discovery, I know
a little. Yes, exactly.
There's a little bit of
little riff at the end there. Clever.
Same thing with the JJ Star Trek movies. The music was
they even do that on like Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Like, I don't pay that close attention to the music on those shows, but when there's an original Star Wars theme weaved in, it pops like right out and you hear it.
Yeah. Which is why I still don't understand all this library of music, and they don't play any of it at Galaxy's Edge. Any of it.
Wonder why?
Oh, that's interesting.
There's no music at Galaxy's Edge.
There is when you walk in. There's music.
And I think that's music that John Williams wrote for Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, I've got a whole album of music he wrote for Galaxy's Edge, but they have this huge library of great stuff. Everyone.
There's this huge library of characters too that they've chosen to ignore. So that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoy the hell out of Galaxy's Edge, but yeah, I'm still scratching my head that it's so married to the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
sequel trilogy. Excuse me.
If you want to hear Star Wars music, you got to go on. I was on a
Star Tours.
Star Tours.
Thank you, Star Tours.
Where is that? That's not in Galaxy's Edge in LA?
It's not Galaxy's Edge in either park.
Yeah.
It's in Tomorrow.
It's in Hollywood Studios.
And then Tomorrowland at Disneyland.
Right.
Separate. Yeah. I still love Star Tours. I think
me too.
I think it's
good. When they did that retool, it got better for sure.
It got better, and then they updated it with the new prequel trilogy stuff, which I like that experience better than the movies themselves.
Oh, a complete sidebar here. The droid that used to fly the Star Tours,
Captain Rex.
Captain Rex.
You know, he showed up as the dealer in the
that's right,
a couple places in Boba Fett.
That's right.
All R2 Builder Club member robots.
Our friend Gordon was involved in building that.
Those guys all built that stuff.
Yeah.
He built the Captain Rex.
The one that they used in Book of Boba Fett. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Him and Mike McMaster. Yeah.
Yeah. The two of them did it.
That's great. So Todd, just based on your original question, I was going back through my top like 50 movies list, and so many of them are filled with these amazing orchestral scores. Whether a lot of them are John Williams, especially because I have like a whole chunk of Harry Potter films in a row that you guys don't have on your list. But then I've also got John Barry, films, and they're like Dances with Wolves, which has made a huge lasting impression on me. And then I should know who did like the theme song to The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and
those that little man with no name.
Yeah, it's funny. I was in my wife's office, and she's always listening to soundtracks. And I'm listening to this piece of music. Like, is that James Bond? She's like, no, it's Dances with Wolves.
Yeah,
no, same stuff like James Bond.
Yeah,
movie.
Exactly. It's John Barry doing John Williams. Yeah. It's so good. So I'm just impressed. There's only a few in my top 30 that I can't remember any music for, like Shawshank
and that's
Redemption.
like I said, I wonder whether that's an accident or whether that's just part of what bonds us to a film.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, we walk out of the theater with a great experience and great music. They really go hand in hand.
Think about the Godfather theme and how you can't make a mobster movie now without ripping off some element.
Got to have violins.
Like,
Got to have violins.
that is so associated with that movie. But that, I mean, every mob movie since has had that type of music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I was looking through a list of TV shows. I gotta say, after Jerry Goldsmith, Henry Mancini did a crap load of stuff.
Pink Panther.
And most of them are not memorable. I mean, even when I look at the shows, I'm like, yeah, I don't remember the theme from that show. But he did a crap.
Guy's got to make a buck.
Also, Mike Post. It's just like,
He did all those those 80s.
Every cop show.
So let's go backwards here. Okay, so Toccata Fugue in D minor.
Rollerball.
What movie does that bring to you?
Totally Rollerball.
Because it's also used in The Great Race.
It's used in a couple movies.
Yeah, it's used in a bunch of movies. But yeah, of course, the Rollerball, the original Rollerball, but no one's seen that anymore. So,
and that's the thing. It's like a lot of things like that you can't reuse. You can't reuse because you don't want to be watching someone's film and be taken back to somebody else's film.
Yeah. What's the other one? It was in every 80s movie. The do 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 do. What's that song?
Oh God! Oh yeah, by Yellow.
Oh yeah. That was in every 80s movie.
Ferris Bueller.
But it's owned by Ferris
Bueller.
Bueller. Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. But you're right. Yeah. No, that was one of the things that they.
It still shows up in things today.
It does. It does.
Like that's some horrible band with a horrible song is making a ton of money from it being in movies.
But that's a perfect example of like it doesn't matter where I hear it. I'm going back to Ferris Bueller with that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the Ooga Chaka song. It was Ellie McBeal forever. And then Guardians of the Galaxy completely stole it away.
Yes. Yeah, boy, that was a massive takeover with the Guardians. And pretty much anything Guardians put their hands on, they now own.
Oh yeah, I hear those songs all the time in other places now and go, oh no, that's a Galaxy.
No, it's a Guardians.
James Gunn is good about putting stuff in movies. All that freaking hair metal in Peacemaker. I don't even know
so
half
much.
of the fans, and that was my era of stuff.
Oh man, there's so much great music in
but
Peacemaker.
Another question.
Then you. Oh, go ahead. Good time.
No, go ahead, Barry. Continue.
I was going to say that. Then you've got another. There's a whole other subgenre of things like you talk about James Bond, and James Bond had a very iconic theme song, but then they started getting very iconic songs to be like "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney, or
all those songs. I mean, geez, they were one of the few.
For Your Eyes Only, the Carly Simon, like all those songs. It's like. You know, they've become as memorable and iconic to James Bond as the iconic theme is.
Did they do that in movies? Like, was there always a best song category, or is that a new thing? I'm looking that up.
I think that was invented for James Bond movies.
Probably
could be.
Although lately they haven't been that memorable.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting. What's the latest one you can name? For Your Eyes Only jumps to mind, but after that,
but the Adele one, which I don't love.
The Adele one,
but you heard it so much.
So much you can't think of its name.
There was "A View to a Kill" by Duran Duran. That was a pretty big song.
Okay, that was a good one. Yeah, you're right about that.
I don't know if it was good. It's the worst Bond movie. Probably the worst Bond song.
Garbage did the theme to "The World Is Not Enough," right?
Equally forgettable.
Yeah.
The Casino Royale one wasn't the name to the movie, but that was who was that? Chris Martin or Chris somebody? Who did that?
You're talking about the new Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Chris Cornell.
Cornell, that's the dude. Yeah, that was actually good.
If you were going to say one of all, is it Live and Let Die?
For me,
one
it is.
Bond theme above all. I mean, Goldfinger's
pretty iconic.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
it is. But as far as as a song goes,
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you would ever listen to that.
You know, the sentimental favorite for me, just because of when it came out, it was "Nobody Does It Better" by Carly Simon, because that song was on the radio when I was a kid all the time. But Paul McCartney's version of "Live and Let Die," I know it's sort of lately been overshadowed by the awful Guns N' Roses cover that gets played on the radio all the time. But the Paul McCartney version is epic.
Well, there's Baby
John
Driver.
Barry wrote Goldfinger. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah. So. Baby Driver was written around the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew what songs he wanted in the movie and wrote the movie around the songs.
That's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is crazy.
That's a great soundtrack too.
Now, my
favorite movie soundtrack is Daredevil, and I'm not saying that just to annoy you, Todd.
Seriously?
That of its time. Yeah, there's a ton of great music in that.
Really?
Evanescence and Rob Zombie and a lot of good. I guess that was that 90s? It was 90s kind of music. That is a great soundtrack. Check it out. Todd does not recognize that.
I'm looking.
Oh,
so
there was the best
yeah.
song category in original songs starting in 1934.
Oh, wow.
Which I wouldn't have been. I wonder who won.
Yeah, that's crazy that it went that far back.
Wow.
I didn't think there were songs back then.
The talkies only were 31, so that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know what movie's got a great, is not the world's greatest movie, but has an amazing soundtrack is, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting the name of the movie. It was the sequel that came out like 30 years later to the Disney movie to Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy soundtrack is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, Daft Punk does the soundtrack.
Oh,
I don't remember the movie, but I remember buying the soundtrack after seeing it. So
I know the Continental won the first best song. That's like a movie. That's like, isn't that you've seen it in it's Young Frankenstein, isn't it?
yeah, I think it is.
The Continental from the Gay Divorcee.
Yeah,
which could be that's a very contemporary.
Oh, there's a lot of The Way You Look Tonight. This is in the 30s. Over the Rainbow. Okay, I guess we're
39,
kind of being a little too young for the movies.
Yeah,
Over the Rainbow.
I gotta say, I'm looking at the more recent ones, and a lot of these haven't really stuck with me. But
When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio won.
Well, lately
White
they
Christmas.
just stick a modern song on the end of a movie to get nominated in that category. It's it's over the credits and it's getting nominated.
Right.
I mean, there's a ton of movies. Baby, It's Cold Outside. I'm in the 40s still. Que Sera Sera. Wasn't that what's her name? Doris Day. High Hopes. Moon River. Chim Chim Cheree from Mary Poppins. That song. Born Free from Born Free. Remember that?
boy, Disney had quite a streak getting the with
oh yeah.
I'll name the song and you name the movie. Okay. Born Free. No, that's too hard.
Yeah.
Talk to the Animals.
Dr. Dolittle.
Dr. Dolittle.
The Windmills of Your Mind.
That is they remade that, the Thief movie with Pierce Brosnan.
I knew Brian would know.
Yeah.
Thomas Crown Affair.
That's
Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Butch Cassidy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was a movie that did not have a soundtrack.
That's right.
It had 3 songs, but no soundtrack. Yeah.
How about the theme from Shaft? That was in Shaft. The Way We Were. There are a lot of really memorable songs from Fame.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm now
musical.
Well, here's a answer to a trivia question. Did the Poseidon Adventure win an Academy Award?
Yes, I just saw that.
And same with Towering Inferno.
For the songs. Yeah.
And it was for the songs?
For songs.
John Williams did both those.
Towering Inferno was we may never love like this again.
I don't know. Yeah. Is that
That's
a song?
not the song I'm thinking.
Dave, I just came up with another movie that's got a pre-existing song attached to it that I can't think of anything else but that movie, and it's in Top Gun.
Oh, I was just looking at that.
Take My Breath Away?
Take My Breath
Berlin
Away.
song?
That's a good song.
No, that's not it.
What?
That's not what makes me think of Top Gun.
Oh, with the boys?
The Love and Feeling?
You've lost that love and feeling. I can't think of anything with Top Gun. When I hear that. Doesn't matter. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that Danger Zone to me?
Danger Zone's another one.
Yeah. Iconic 80s music. Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, that was not one I thought of, but it's.
I would go so far as to say the music is better than the movie, but that's just me.
I would go so far as to agree with you, Barry.
I would say
movie would not be half as good as it is if it wasn't for the music.
I would say you're all wrong, but there's probably 5 songs you would hear and you'd think of Top Gun.
Oh yeah,
easily.
You're making my point for me.
Yeah,
that's right. Well played, sir.
So we had an all hands meeting today for our department at work. There was like 150 people in our theater at work, which felt odd. But putting that aside, in the presentation, the head of our department was talking about one vision and one mission, and all I could think about was the Queen song from Iron Eagle.
Yep.
Oh my God!
As soon as he said those words, I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking about is Iron Eagle.
Speaking of Queen, Highlander. whatever.
How
it
can you
was.
not say,
Forever.
how can you
Yeah.
not say, speaking of Queen, and the next words out of your mouth aren't Flash Gordon?
They had a couple.
Okay, yes.
I
I mean, that was just so
Sorry,
obvious.
yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
might have been, other than the Star Wars soundtrack, that might have been the other first soundtrack I ever owned, the Flash Gordon soundtrack.
I think the first soundtrack I ever bought for myself, I know exactly what it was. It was Superman.
Oh, such a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for sure my first soundtrack was Star Wars, but
I know we
Mine
had
too.
James Bond soundtracks.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Barry.
I also probably. Oh, was that? No, that's afterwards. I was saying the Grease soundtrack.
yep, we had that one too. So but that one wasn't. I didn't buy that one. That one happened to be in my house.
Sure, Barry.
Did you have a sister, Barry?
I did. Oh, and you know what? The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack was in my house.
Oh
too.
yeah, that was in
I
everybody's
remember
house.
this. My parents. My parents bought the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. They thought it was the greatest thing ever, and we had one of those big cabinet stereos in the living room, and it had the records into it. And then my brother had a stereo in his room. I guess what year was it? 78, 77. So we were in our mid-teens. If you took the Saturday Night soundtrack and put it near his records, he would freak out. He just hated anything to do with disco so badly. I would slip it in his record thing. For those of you under 40, records are what music came on in the 70s.
They believe me, they all know what vinyl is now. You just have
They
to call
have
it vinyl.
vinyl has
it's vinyl.
come back big
Gotta
time.
call it
baby.
vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
and it's
time.
really expensive too. Like
And that console stereo with the 5 amplifier tubes inside of it is worth thousands and thousands of
I
dollars.
don't know
now.
if this one was. We just sold it in the when we were selling stuff for her move.
Was it a two? Was it
She
two
still
power or was
had it,
solid
Dave?
state?
Yep. Still had
That's
it.
crazy
She used
that
it
she
as a
still had
piece
it.
of furniture, like in the entryway, because you didn't know it was a stereo.
Yeah.
I don't know if it had tubes. It was a Fisher, but we sold it. I knew someone would buy it. I don't know what she got for it, but
Thousands and thousands.
we didn't have to
Yeah.
move it, so that
And
was.
I
the
was
thing.
right in that. I mean, I'm sure all of us were, but I mean, before I got into buying musical instruments and buying all this other, stereo equipment was a thing for me, like a big thing for me. Turntable and receiver
Oh, yeah.
and all that. So
Are your
Big
guitar
speakers.
Amps, are your guitar amps tube amps, Barry?
I have some solid state amps and some tube amps. Yeah.
Okay.
So
'Cause, tube amps are just way more expensive than a solid state amp now.
Yeah, and they require more maintenance, but they do sound better.
Sound
They're
better.
warmer sounding than the solid state amps.
I was
I
was
have
trying
my
to find
original turntable from when I was 17.
really trying to find a picture of this and I couldn't. But okay, so my first job, it was probably in like 78 or 79, and I needed to bring my lunch I had to bring my lunch to this job. I asked my mother, can you just get me a lunchbox? Okay. So I don't know where she got it, but she got me the Saturday Night Fever lunchbox.
Oh my god!
Okay. And I remember spray painting it.
I was gonna say,
But even though I spray
beat me
painted
up.
it, because it was embossed, you could still see,
Oh yeah.
you could still see, but it was like,
That's an
oh,
odd
no.
choice. She wouldn't have picked Spider-Man. I mean,
Well, no, I think it was just like at the time, it wasn't, lunchboxes weren't a big thing. It was like, it was, and that's what she came home with. I was like,
Well, and what's funny is now that would be an ironic and cool thing, but back
Oh, my
then,
God,
not
yes.
so much.
I think it was like a knockoff Saturday Night Fever lunchbox. I think it was like Disco Fever or something like this.
worse.
Disco Fever was this
It was
thing.
even
yeah.
worse. It was even worse.
Well, this was a fun topic,
on the
Todd.
playground.
Hey, I got one more before we wrap up, and this was just something I thought of a few minutes ago. Try to think of the best 2 cartoon themes that you can think of, or animated themes you can think of. Because
Ooh.
I got 2.
Oh, I got
And-
one is the earworm is the Spider-Man theme. It will get in your head and you
Yes,
can't
yep,
stop
definitely
singing.
an earworm.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
sure.
But
There's a bunch like that, though. I mean, I could rattle off way more than 2, but like the Flintstones theme song.
Flintstones
Isn't
is the first thing that comes to my
Yeah.
head.
Johnny Quest is
Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest is
Fantastic.
my number 1.
Johnny
Yeah.
Quest.
I
Yep.
wouldn't
Yep.
know what that is, to be honest with
it?
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really? Oh, Johnny
don't really
Quest
know
is
that
like
one
the
either.
best, is like the best theme ever.
I bought the DVDs or something, and it's
Yeah.
you don't go back. You don't go back.
Oh, Johnny Quest is awesome.
It's good to you can watch Johnny Quest if you're doing something else. It's just because it is slow.
You just don't.
But yeah, well, it's like when my son Joey got into Thunderbirds and
Wow.
this is a bizarre thing. we were watching the movie That Thing You Do, and in That Thing You Do, there's a sequence where they're watching the Thunderbirds on TV.
Yeah.
From that, Joey was like, "What's that? I need to know about that." So we started buying the DVDs, then watching the Thunderbirds, and we made it through, I think, 3 seasons before he lost interest. But you talk about a slow show.
Yeah,
those Thunderbirds episodes could be edited down to like 20 minutes and be really exciting.
Whoever came up with the idea for, we know who made Robert Wise made the film, but whoever came up with the idea for the Enterprise reveal in the motionless picture spent too much time watching Thunderbirds.
Yes.
Like, a lot of inspirational music.
Yeah.
Totally.
The ships were the stars of that show.
Oh my God. And
they were.
I'm not trying to take anything away from it, because in its era, that was the way TV shows were made anyway. They were slower paced, but
stop motion animation is such
but every time they had to get a vehicle out of the hangar, that was 2 minutes right there.
They had the flaw of, it took us a long time to film it, we're going to show all of it, and that's not what you do.
I worked on 3 stop motion animated video games when I was at Atari Games. They are so painful. Oh my gosh. And if you ever have to scrap footage, it's such a colossal waste. Everyone's morose. It's like
Dave and I were going to make a stop motion film one time. Dave and I were going to make a stop motion film, and we did it for like 2 hours. And we were like, we're not doing this.
We're not doing it.
Oh, yeah, it takes forever.
We got like 3 seconds of footage.
Well, do you remember when we did the one that the 3 of us did for the G.I. Joe convention? That was somewhat stop motion, but not quite.
But that's the compromise we came up with, that you don't actually need to do the stop motion. You just sort of, if you have a funny concept,
that was like Thunderbirds. It was
Thunderbirds. There was no stop motion in Thunderbirds. It was all live action. Yeah.
Yep. And so my other animated thing was Batman the Animated Series. I think that music is brilliant, and it sets the tone. It fits it absolutely perfect. So.
I may have been, because I'm a little bit younger than you guys, the Hong Kong Phooey theme song.
Yes.
Is one of my all-time favorite cartoon
number one
theme
super
songs.
Guy.
How about like all the McGill Gorilla? Does anyone remember McGill Gorilla?
Yeah.
Yep. Grape Ape.
Cartoons had great theme songs. The Jetsons theme song.
His boy Elroy.
Yep.
So you have to be just the right age, but anytime someone says get lunch, I think lunch, not launch. Does that ring a bell with anybody?
We're not none of us are the right age, I guess.
Not the right age.
What is that?
Far Out Space Nuts. The 2 janitors accidentally launch themselves into
Jim
space.
Neighbors, wasn't Jim Neighbors?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Instead of pressing the lunch button, he presses the launch button and launches them into space.
I did not realize that. Yep.
Yes.
It's funny.
I think it was a 1-season Saturday morning show.
It was and it was during that time when you could pitch anything related to space and get it made.
Yeah.
And it was It's About Time was another one from that
space.
era.
Yeah.
It's about time. It's about space. That was which one was that? I used to have
astronauts go back to the time of the cavemen.
That's not Time Tunnel. It's
no. It's About Time was
you don't go back to Time Tunnel.
It's About Time. So I used to have these CDs called the greatest, TV theme songs of all time. That one jumped out at me big time, and I remembered it. One of my favorite TV theme or cartoon themes is Underdog. That Underdog theme. I still think of that today.
Yeah.
And talking about short-lived space-themed TV shows, we have probably not talked about this since like episode 2 of our podcast, but one of my all-time favorites was Quark. The Richard Feldman.
Quark.
Yeah.
Two of my all-time favorite things were Quark.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, exactly.
The Lander
Trisha
sisters
and Sib.
Todd has it. We all have a thing for twins. Yes.
Yep. And
nice.
Batman theme was great. Wonder Woman theme was great.
They don't do TV theme songs like they used to.
No, they don't.
Everything right now is just super, which I kind of appreciate. Super short.
They don't sing you the backstory in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Show anymore.
Family Ties.
Ties, right. Or the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Or the
Gilligan's Island is. Gilligan's Island tells you the whole thing.
All that stuff is like, what's this about? Theme song, 3 minutes. So, everything.
You guys would be in a position to answer this question. They're also the intros are also shorter than they ever were before. Is that an attention span thing, or is that to slip in an extra commercial?
I think it's everything. I think it's they want to get you into the show right away.
Because it wasn't until like the cable series, in the last 15 years where they started doing these really elaborate intros like Dexter and things like that, where it just, they made it almost an art form again. Whereas it got to the point where it was like, we're going to snip it down as short as possible.
I think that's because they want to get more drama in the show when there's so many commercials too. Why show a theme song?
They're trying to get you hooked very quickly so that you don't change the channel and they can get you into commercials.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Well, let us know any of that stuff you think out there in the world.
This is so much better. I thought this was going to be a big build up to Todd telling us he was leaving the show. I'm like, what the hell is this going?
I'll tell you, Barry. I honestly listened to the show from 2 weeks ago, and we were kind of dicks to you. So I wanted to get us all back together and have kind of a palate cleanser and just talk about stuff we liked for an episode. And
Isn't it a good thing that it rolls so off me so easily that I didn't even
bother me more than it bothered you. But again, like I said, it's been a rough week for the planet. So
to your credit, Barry, you've always liked what you like.
That's right. True. I have said that many times.
You got him to not like The Last Jedi. Come on.
That's true.
It's good therapy.
But I will also say I'm not the only one who came out of that movie with a somewhat of an afterglow and then quickly changed.
I would totally admit that.
So we're always.
I'm not embarrassed by who I am, Derryl. That's for sure.
No, not at all.
I embrace it.
No, nor are we, my friend. So, anyways,
we'll
like
always
I said,
go to bed
my thought.
and make up and go to bed. We're not gonna. We don't harbor any.
We love you, Barry.
Oh, thanks, guys.
That's right.
I love you guys too.
Let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Does everyone have what's in the box?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
A little one.
I mean, come on. Do we ever not get stuff in the mail?
My what's in the box is related to the show again.
So go ahead.
I'm gonna go first because
Brian, what's in the box?
Dave will recognize this.
Oh, I have that book.
So Dave talked about getting this book for Christmas, so I ran out and bought this book, not realizing that because I subscribed to the Aston Martin DB5 model that I built up, the one that they shipped me. They sent me one of these at the end of the model.
Oh, really?
So now I have two of these books.
Dave, is it good?
James Bond DB5, Live and Let Die. It's
really
good book.
It's actually very good. Can you return one to Amazon?
I was going to say, I've actually been thinking about getting it. So we'll...
It'll cost Brian more to ship it to you than it costs you to buy on Amazon.
And it would be to buy it. Yeah. So.
That's no joke. It costs like a lot of money to ship a lightsaber from the East Coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast.
It's so expensive.
It's a very heavy book.
It's a heavy book.
But media rates really cheap, guys.
Oh, media. That could go.
That's true.
Because it's new. Yeah.
Todd, I'll wrap this up and I'll ship it to you media mail.
One of my big beefs.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
Actually, one of my beefs with eBay is I'm selling, trying to sell a whole bunch of stuff on eBay. Part of the intervention that my wife has had with me.
Yep.
But a lot of the things I list as books on eBay comes back and says, like after the item is sold, it says you can't ship that media rate. I'm like, but it's a book.
No, it's new. It's
but because I listed it in like a Star Wars category or something. They're like, we don't recognize that as media rate. I'm like,
they changed the rules. They changed the rules like 10 years ago. Comics, you could send new comics media rate, but they have to be they have to be current.
They're new to the person buying them.
That doesn't apply. In fact, if the post office will actually seize and return stuff to you at full cost, then you get charged full cost.
I had one thing like 10 years ago returned, but nothing ever since then.
Yeah.
And I forget if I've actually forced things to go media mail, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'll follow Brian. Mine's a small one. So I think 2 weeks ago on the show, I had like massive boxes of stuff. I have not gotten much in since then, but this is what I did get in today. It is another Marvel Legends figure, and Todd would probably recognize this one. It is a Doctor Strange that I'm not as familiar with, but it appears to be a comic
Yeah, it's a
You know,
classic comic
stores.
Doctor Strange, but
Dr.
there's got to
Strange.
be
That
it's gotta
feels
be
like
tied into a
70s.
particular story because there's two alternate heads,
That's right.
but it's the classic outfit.
And he's
it's
got a
the
battle
classic-
axe in the package too. Like, what's
yeah,
up
it's
with
a
that?
classic comic Doctor Strange. Now, you know, I've read not as many Marvel comics as Todd. In fact, probably 2% of what Todd has read, but Doctor Strange is not one of them. But I love Marvel Legends, so I had to get it. So it's a great
I'm going to
looking
look
figure.
that up. It's interesting. It's got kind of the
Yeah.
Ditko look to it. So
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's it.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
Barry.
All right, I got something in a box that I sent you guys a picture of the box the other day because it came with like 5,000 stamps from Hong Kong on the box, and it took about 3 weeks for it to get here from the time I paid for it. But I'm super stoked with it. I think it's the only unlicensed 12-inch figure that I own now. But this is the Starship Troopers. I guess, what do they call it? They call it the Starship Force because they can't call it Starship Troopers. But it's the Johnny Rico figure from Virtual Toys.
Oh, cool.
but I got two Virtual Toys things. They're both really good.
It's a great figure. I mean, the level of detailing on it is I would say like Hot Toys quality. The head sculpt is maybe a tad below that, but with this helmet on, you really can't tell. It's delicate. I'll give it that. You can definitely tell it's not as mass produced of an item as sort of like a Hot Toys or a Sideshow item would be. But I also I got the deluxe version, which comes in a gigantic freaking gift box, and it comes with all the pieces to piece together a dead bug that he can stand on with the stand. So,
Whoa!
and each one of these legs is held on with magnets. It's like
wow.
a really cool piece
way.
that goes along with him. It's pretty sick, and the detailing on this is insane.
Can you set it up so he's like doing hand-to-hand fighting almost with that guy?
You can't because this one's dead, but you can set it up where he's like standing with his foot on top of it. So you can sort of
That's badass.
set that across the base of the figure, and it's amazing. It's just an amazing figure.
That is
that's awesome.
It comes in a big giant gift box with all foam inserts. I mean, it's high quality, and Todd recommended this company in Hong Kong that I ended up buying it from, and he's used them a lot of times, and they were great.
Yeah. So not a sponsor, but KG Hobby. A lot of hard to find things like this. Some very cool
the
stuff.
level of detail on this, I mean, all the way down to like the rivets in the chest
that's
plate,
great.
and the nuclear warhead and the rifle, and it's got ammo cartridges that go in all the pouches. It's got these grenades, and there's these tiny little elastic strings that go over the top of the grenade to hold the grenades. I mean, it's super well done. So
That's really nice.
and I ended up buying it from Hong Kong because it was like $200 less to buy it from Hong Kong than to get it from a U.S. dealer. So
I gotta say they are great. I had they sent the I actually was hoping I was going to have the newest figure I bought from them tonight, and there was an issue in the shipping, and I got in touch with them within like an hour. They were back in touch, and they put a tracer on it, and it should be delivered later.
Starship Force.
Wow.
this is how big the box is.
Yeah, awesome.
It's kind of enormous, but good figure. So I'm happy with it because I love that movie, and there's probably never going to be licensed figures from this.
No, not at this point. So I might have told this before when they made a bug for that movie, that was released with that was roughly 1/6 scale. They made noise when you push the button and they made the sounds. These were on closeout. I think they were like $18.99 or something like this. They were on closeout at Toys R Us for like $12. And so I bought one of these and I was playing G.I. Joes with Evan. It was I don't know, he was probably like 11 at the time, and he loved it. We had a lot of fun. So I bought another one, and we had two of these things. We're having a great time with this. Well, he went back with his mom. I went back to Toys R Us to get a third one, and they had just marked them all down to like $5. So I bought 9 of these things. And we had left the two right where we were playing in his room. We had like left them there with the G.I. Joes that were fighting them. And I took all the others out of the box and I hid them everywhere. So like when we came back over like 3 days later, we resumed playing. They were in the closet. They were under the bed. They were just, there were now 11 of them. And it was like, I think he was searching for more for months. thinking that they were going to be somewhere else, but it was great. So.
What a great memory.
All right, Todd, what's in the box?
Okay, so I'll see if I can lift this. This is a Moon Knight Omnibus. Wow. Freaking huge. And this is a big chunk out of the early appearances. It just came out and is sold out already. And the second one comes out next month. So obviously they're reprinting this stuff because of the series, but really, really nicely well done. I've got some of these things, but not all of these things. And it's kind of cool having them together. Moon Knight he was kind of his early stories were like backups in other magazines and guest appearances and stuff like that. So this has everything chronologically. And they'll probably do like 3 or 4 volumes of this, and I will get all of them and line them up on my shelf. So, but it is freaking heavy and huge.
Let me tell you, some of those Marvel omnibus volumes go for tons of money. Like I've been trying to get one of the Savage Sword of Conan number ones.
Yes. Yeah.
They originally sold for $100. These things are going for $500 and $600.
And I'll tell you, I'm going to give another recommendation on a place to buy. In stock trades, okay, these at release, and you got to jump on stuff really quick. They're up to 45% off retail, and this is $125 book that I spent significantly less on that on it.
Wow.
So I think it was 35 or 38% off, something like that. So it was great. Dave, what do you got?
Okay. I too, Barry, this may look familiar. I too have a box from Hong Kong.
You have what I'm waiting for, right?
Do I? Is what you're waiting for Rick Deckard?
Ah, God damn it, yes.
Oh, wow.
Mine is now, it's now supposed to be here tomorrow. So.
Okay. Then maybe I won't do a full review of it.
No, go for it. Go for it. I'm eager to see this.
Well, it's not great, I got to tell
you.
Really? That's why I hesitant. I just opened it today.
I own it no matter what.
It's very much like early Sideshow quality.
Well, hold them up to the camera.
So
looks good from here.
Yeah.
The face is all the sculpt is great. Even the hair is good. The paint is a little lacking. I don't know, it's hard to tell. The paint's a little lacking. Definitely not the Hot Toys quality. And I got to tell you, the soft goods are just really not great. Just super stiff. Not even, like you can't even get the tie the right way. The colors are not the real. What the fabrics aren't. The patterns aren't the right thing.
Todd refused the package.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually thinking he's just going to go right on eBay.
It's another one of those figures I don't understand why there hasn't been like a form. Like, didn't they even Hot Toys showed one at Toy Fair a few years ago?
Did once, yep.
I think there's only been knockoffs, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And not even. This is probably the biggest run of any of the knockoffs.
Yeah.
Because they've been
the
really low
body
profile.
is crappy. I mean,
what
doesn't
company
even have
makes
socks
it
on it. I mean,
what company makes it, Dave?
This is Dark Toys.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
the neck is just like super long too. Yeah. It does come with a bunch of accessories. The gun's not bad. It's got the clear grips and stuff. It does come with a bunch of. It comes with a second head, which I'm like, oh, maybe the second head. The second head is literally exactly the same thing as the first head, but with 2 little spots of blood, one on the nose and on the face. That's it. That's all they've done. And then
so the one thing I'll say about the Starship Trooper figure is it looks great, but the body that it's on is not a Hot Toys quality body at all.
This is not a great.
Yeah. That is one of the places where these things break down, because I have maybe half a dozen of these knockoff figures. I've actually done like joint work on them to.
I would do a body swap maybe.
Dave, did he come with a gun?
That's what I just showed, the gun.
Oh, did you? There's the gun. Okay.
Yeah. The gun's okay. It comes with a void comp machine.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is like, this to me is Hasbro sort of, no offense, Hasbro sort of mass market quality. The stuff that used to come with.
Hasbro, you could play with it. It was a toy.
Yeah,
it wasn't a collectible.
Not Hot Toys quality. Comes with, it comes with cool stuff, but none of them are executed well. There's a little badge.
Okay.
Gosh.
Here's the holster. The holster is awful. It's this little thin vinyl that's just with white stitching. That's just horrible.
Wow.
It does come with a Johnny Walker bottle. That's kind of cool. It does come with the glass, which is the right shape. It's hard to tell. It comes with the gum wrapper unicorn that is so out of scale.
In defense of that, if you made it the correct scale, it would be like,
So everything it's nice idea, but just nothing's really well executed. I mean, I'm gonna keep it because I don't have one, but
sounds like the whiskey bottle and the glass are the most accurate things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the head's good. It just really could. The face looks very plasticky. I don't know. I'm curious.
I will not open mine, and I will monitor closely what they're selling for in the secondary market.
It's like $229 on eBay right now.
Okay. Well, that's not much more than you probably paid for, right?
Yeah, probably about that.
So I'm sending to our chat the little video that I sent to Dave and Todd originally of the box that I got, because it's literally wallpapered with Hong Kong postage stamps on all three sides. It's kind of crazy.
It's funny. Mine came from the same place, and it looks like they use different stamps. These are.
I have gotten packages like that before. I got to say though, like I've ordered a ton of stuff from these guys, and
these are $10 stamps. What price is your stamps?
Oh, I'll have to look, but I mean, I think I paid $40-something in shipping.
Yeah, because it's a big.
Well, these are Is it?
But you saw the size of the box that I got; it's huge.
Yeah.
These are each one of these is $10.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's Hong Kong money. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, it's Hong Kong dollars.
It's a good thing they're not rubles, because.
Is there worth?
They would have to use a bigger box to get the stamps on there.
It used to be when I went over to Hong Kong, it used to be like 7-1. I don't know what it is right now. I'm checking.
Yeah. Well, let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 24, 12, 36, 30. 36 times $360.
Yeah.
It's about
that's Hong Kong.
Yeah. It's about 7.8 to 1 right now.
Yeah. Okay. Virtual Toys, the two figures I've got are actually very good. The one Dark Toys figure I've got is a little weaker. He's a back of the cabinet figure.
I've been spoiled by Hot Toys quality. Just even like the wrist pegs. I was worried changing the hands that I was going to break the wrist pegs on these things. But
Todd, here's the you won't like the ankle.
Yeah,
he'll have a hard time standing.
Couple of months ago, I mentioned stuff that I bought on Amazon for action figures. It's got it's a little fluidy stuff with a syringe on it, and I've had a lot of figures that just chronically would not stand up. That I put that in the ankle joints and the knee joints, and it's been fantastic. It's just like a light duty glue that just will hold that position until you work it out again. Back in the day, Dave, we could have really used that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've got a slight bone to pick with you guys.
Okay.
Now that we're off the fun, happy show. Lost in Space correction from 2 weeks ago. You guys are driving me crazy. Lost in Space was originally done as a pilot episode where they spent $1 gazillion that had no robot and no Dr. Smith, but it did have all the Cyclops stuff. It had the chariot stuff crossing the ocean in it. It had all of that. And it was, contrary to what they'll tell you on Star Trek, the first show to have a second pilot ever ordered. Because the Fox saw this first pilot and said, that's fantastic, but you need to put more jeopardy in it, because just the environment being in jeopardy wasn't enough. So they added Dr. Smith and the robot, because they're both supposed to be evil characters. And then they took that original pilot and chopped it up into 5 pieces and made 5 episodes, adding Dr. Smith.
Do you have access to the original pilot?
Yeah, it's on the DVD set.
It is. Oh.
It is.
Okay, I got to look for that.
Yeah.
Because
it was literally Swiss Family Robinson in space. But when they ordered the second pilot, they added the robot and Dr. Smith and sliced.
I think I remember reading this. I don't think I've ever seen that.
So they threw the robot together pretty quickly, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, everything was really quick. Robert Kanashina said they gave him like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez! Wow.
To design and build that robot,
which is why he so resembles Robbie. I mean,
same designer, and he told him go, so he did. He made it really quick that a guy could fit in. Yeah.
There's a tie on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Brian, I loved Lost in Space as a kid. I watched it in syndication, but I don't know it nearly as well as I do like Star Trek or a lot of other shows.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's funny how much stuff Star Trek gets credit for they did in Lost in Space first. They cut up that pilot episode of Star Trek and made an episode around. I was like, they did that in Lost in Space already.
Right? Yeah.
But they didn't wait. They didn't make it. They didn't use little clips, snippets from it. They built entirely around that. Yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah. So cool. I have a last thought.
Dave, what's your last thought?
Thank you. You're supposed to say, does anyone have a last thought?
Does anyone have any last thoughts? Dave does.
Oh, I do. It's always similar last thoughts, but Alan Ladd Jr. passed away today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that just happened today. So he's done a lot of stuff, and I was interested in read his. Most of us know him. He's basically the person they claim saved Star Wars because he was one of the only people interested in it at the time when he was at a studio. And
he totally went to bat for Lucas and kept the rest of the studio people off his back.
They were going to pull the plug on it at one point, or at least stop filming. And he said, "Keep going." So he basically, but he was also involved in Alien, Blade Runner, amongst
and married to one of my childhood crushes. So
who's that?
Alan Ladd Jr. Wasn't that Cheryl Ladd's husband?
No, maybe his granddaughter.
Alan Ladd Jr.
Well, he's 84. She's probably 70 something.
I actually got to speak to Alan Ladd Jr. on the phone back when I was trying to make movies. I was trying to get him to release my film, and I knew somebody who knew him well enough to get him to call me. And he did call me. And I talked to him on the phone for about 5 minutes.
But the thing that was, in this, I guess it was an obituary that was mentioned a number of times. He produced or was involved in a lot of movies with strong female characters, even back into the 60s and 70s. Thelma and Louise, a bunch of other stuff. So that was, and in a place like Hollywood where there's a bunch of male chauvinist douchebags, he certainly wasn't one of them, at least from everything I read. So he definitely was pushing the strong character. So,
and let's not forget, he was the executive producer on Police Academy.
Okay.
Which in its time was actually a really good movie.
No, he had a lot of stuff.
I remember his name at the beginning of Blade Runner. Every time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the Ladd company.
Yeah.
Yep.
So rest in peace, Alan Ladd Jr. Thank you for what you've done. Okie dokie.
Yep.
Next week, The Batman.
Yes.
Whether Todd's seen it or not.
The Batman.
I will.
You're seeing it tomorrow.
By this time tomorrow night, I will have seen it.
Let me just tell you about this one scene, even though it's not spoiling anything. Yeah, so when Batman kills the Joker,
it was forever. This thing was coming out, and all of a sudden it's here, and I was not prepared, so I've got to go find tickets for it.
Yeah. What's surprising is that I was the one that had originally said, and I meant it, every word of it, that I probably wouldn't even see it in the theater, just because I wasn't all that excited about it, but ended up getting, we'll talk about it next week, but I ended up getting invited to a screening, so I got to go see it.
Just keep talking.
So Barry,
I'm really rethinking this whole, let's make up the...
Todd, here's the most important thing you should know.
Yes,
they did not hand out swag. Okay. There was no swag.
I feel better now.
My friend who got me in said, these HBO always gives away a ton of great swag, and I'm like, I haven't called her. I got to be like, what the hell? There's
we walked
no swag.
out and we were like, because once Dave found out I was going, then Dave was able to get into the same screening. So the two of us went together and we're like, where's the swag? There's no swag.
How do you not give away a Batman t-shirt? Come on.
Something.
They don't need to. It's
my heart.
They did have popcorn and all the candy.
So I'm going to say something totally controversial. So Todd, you and I love the Batman, right?
Yes.
Or Batman, famous, most popular superhero, most influential. I look at the trailers for this movie and I go, why does this movie exist? What is it other than the fact Warner Brothers needs to make a Batman continuously all the time? I don't know what makes this different from any of the other Batmans that went before it. Do you get anything out of the trailer that says this is a must see because, this is the definitive version of Batman?
I think it's a different version of Batman. I'm not going to say whether I liked it or didn't like it, but it definitely is a little bit different.
Tune in next week.
Yeah. All right. Tune in next week.
If anybody, if Derryl or Brian see it and want to join in on the conversation, you're welcome.
The more the merrier.
So let's see how strongly I feel about it.
If Todd can invite you this week, I can invite you for next week.
That's right.
If
Yep.
If all holds, I'll be knocking out the rest, shipping the rest of those Star Wars Vintage Collection books, Barry, to the
sweet.
To our premium backers, who are the
Nice.
last to receive the book. Unfortunately,
Well, I texted you the picture. I did find my name in the back of the book. I was very excited.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So I'll probably be in Atlanta. I won't be able to watch it this week. So which means that you'll have to use spoilers really well.
I'm
Barry,
telling you
next
right
week.
now, Daryl, there's going to be spoilers.
No,
be
spoilers
prepared.
are fine.
We're gonna spoil
Spoilers are
the
fine.
hell out of this movie.
All you have to do is say spoiler, pause, beat. Let me pause the podcast instead
He's
of saying
still bitter about
spoiler.
that.
Batman dies. Right?
Here's what I think we should do, because I'm honestly, Daryl, we're going to whatever section of the show we talk about the movie, it'll all be spoilers. So why don't we do that as the second half of the show? So you can listen to the first half, and then we'll tell you when to shut the show off.
I think
fine.
that's a great idea.
All I need is a beat to pause the podcast.
We do that, except for that one time Barry screwed you.
More than once, you guys have said there's spoilers coming, and I've turned off the show.
The
And then when
irony
came
is
back
that
to it,
I
you didn't
spoiled
spoil anything for half
Handmaid's
an hour.
Tale. It wasn't like I spoiled something good.
I don't even remember what was it.
It was Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale is really good.
No, I know, but it wasn't like I
Before
spoiled.
this show goes more downhill, let's pull the plug.
Pull the ripcord.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Always great to see you guys.
Great
Yeah,
hanging
Always
out.
great to talk to everybody out there. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.